The lone superhero offering for Christmas long weekend has been released to the reviewers, and well, it's not great, guys. It's not great, but it's not offensive the same way that The Marvels was bad. It's totally different scenarios that we have here. This is like old 90s, early 2000s bad. The plot doesn't make sense. The characters are generally unlikable. It's got a healthy dolloping of Amber Heard, but we'll be talking about that a little bit more later. But as Variety puts it, Jason Momoa in the latest sequel, that's 3D but flat, less screensaver fun and more dark action. So it's just bad. But old school bad, like inoffensively bad. So if you guys want to go out to it for a little bit of, family fun, if you go down to the theater on Christmas like so many people do, it's not going to assault you. It might make you a little bit confused as to how bad the plot is, because I've heard with broad strokes a review of it, and yeah, most of the leaks that you heard about it in the previous few months, they're generally true, but with a couple of notable exceptions that kind of end up improving on what you heard about it. No, his kid doesn't end up getting yeeted earlier, but unfortunately, Amber Heard's sticking around for quite a bit of it, but she's got kind of a weird role, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. All I want to discuss right now is that, well, it's not being received all that well, but is that completely out of the realm of believability, at least by the reviewers? Like, let's take a look, okay? What about top critics? What do they have to say? Well, not as bad, okay? Not as bad as I thought, and not as bad as other contemporaries that are out there, because the DC films, especially in a post-The Dark Knight release schedule, the critics have never been fond of the Snyderverse stuff, and especially the post stuff. None of it was all that great. But this seems to slot in right there with that, like with your Black Adams, Shazam 2, Blue Beetle. Unremarkable, but inoffensive. At least, like, the audience side of this stuff, it doesn't look too bad, okay? Like, it's gonna be forgotten. It's gonna be forgotten probably by the end of the year, if we're gonna be completely honest. All I'm waiting for, all I just want to know, given the fact that, yeah, there's nobody who's... I don't know how many people are really taking up arms against this outside of the people that are still caught a couple years in the past and really actively hating Amber Heard. I think it's got a chance, and we've previewed some of the numbers, and it looks like it's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility that's out there, but is it going to turn a profit? Is it going to do good by the $205 million, even though we know that it's north of that with all the reshoots? Not much marketing on this one because, like I said, man, like it finally got released a day before the general release for the access media because no red carpet, no real promotion. I've seen it advertised on a couple of apps that I look at for like sports, or I think the Weather Network was running an Aquaman thing because the plot of this kind of has climate change gimmicks inside of it, but not going to have the Marvels level or even a Marvel level production budget. So yeah, you're probably looking at numbers in for this, probably $75 to $100 million for marketing. This thing will have to make 750 to break even, but kind of like its billion-dollar brethren in the Marvels, is not going to sniff that. It'll probably end up somewhere near where we're seeing the Marvels right now, but it's yet to be seen. No numbers, no previews, no nothing like that out there. It's just simple speculation. But what I want to know about, what we all want to know about with this is, what's Amber Heard's inclusion? Because outside of it being a part, or capstoning a dead wing of the DC franchise, the biggest anchor around the Fishman's final outing is Amber Heard. Amber Heard and her general dislike from the general population. Oh, what's going on with Amber Heard and Aquaman 2? Amber Heard is only minimally featured in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom's first trailer. She was completely out of the second one, so what is her role going to be? And at the time, back in October of 2023, so about a couple of months ago, nobody knew anything about that because there was very little information about this film all the way up until its release. Maybe for the best. Maybe for the best. Amber Heard's limited presence and promotional material for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is seemingly due to various factors. The sequel's trailer suggests a darker storyline with Aquaman's family threatened by villain Black Manta, leaving little room for a prominent role for Mera, which, according to people who have seen it so far, it kind of seems like Mera was supposed to have a bigger role, but then that ended up getting scaled back, but not to the lengths where the trailer would indicate, where she was only brief are briefly in a fleeting background shot. No. It's much different than that, okay? And as Business Insider puts out, Aquaman 2 diminishes Amber Heard's role to a mere 11 lines, grunts, and a laugh. She's in it, but she's also in quite a bit of it, which is very, very strange. From the people that have seen it, said that she was in like the first 10 minutes, okay? The first 10 to 20 minutes, she was definitely in it. And then closer towards the end of the film, she's in a big chunk of it as well. But like I said, what's interesting about this is she doesn't say very much. So it's almost perfect casting with this one because, okay, you don't have to like Amber Heard. You can call her a complete and total nutcase, but is she easy on the eyes? Well, you know what? Hey, man, gotta be honest with ourselves here. Amber Heard appears in the Aquaman sequel, but her role is barely a fleshed out character. Oh, that sucks because everybody's favorite Amber Heard performance was as of Mera in the first Aquaman film, which somehow made $1 billion. Anyways, Amber Heard returns as Mera, Aquaman's love interest, well, mother to his kids, so I think it's a little bit more than the love interest, but, you know, hey, whatever. But fans may be surprised. There's fans of Amber Heard's. There's those goddamn weirdos that are all over social media, but I don't really know about fans in so much as sycophants, but okay, well, you can't spell sycophant without fan. Phonetically, may be surprised how little she's actually in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. That might actually be a good thing for Aquaman 2 because she's a terrible actress, okay? That was even before all the Johnny Depp stuff, okay? Like, she's atrocious, absolutely awful, but easy on the eyes. Despite being a lead in 2018's Aquaman, Mera is minimalized to a tertiary character with a little dialogue in the sequel, even though she's now married to, yes, Jason Momoa's Aquaman, and has given birth to their newborn child. Yeah, that should tell you a couple of things about her extracurricular activities. During the defamation trial against her former husband, Johnny Depp, Heard testified she was given a pared-down role in the sequel, claiming some of her action scenes were removed, and she fought to stay in the movie. Yeah, because she is a part of, okay? Well, I guess if you don't want this spoiled, I don't know if anybody actually cares at this point in time, but no, this is one of the things, okay? In the first act, because she's in the first and the third act. In the second act, she's just kind of somewhere. It's implied that she's doing something. But in the first act, she ends up taking a Black Manta blast, directly to the chest. And that's basically her done out. But also, like, she's in a bunch, even though she doesn't say a bunch of in the film. But her presence is very well known. She's kind of like that chick where it's like you're turning your back on her. It's like, oh, yeah, huh. No, that's great. And you just want her to leave, but nobody has the balls to just say, can you just, like, get the hell out of here? She just kind of lingers in the background. So sounds hilarious if we're going to be completely honest. In the same trial, Walter Hamada, the former president of Warner Brothers DC Films, denied that claim during a pre-recorded deposition, saying Heard was never a co-lead in the sequel. Exactly. No, Patrick Wilson, who actually looks like the Arthur Curry Aquaman, who is the brother of Jason Momoa, well, they're the ones who basically drive the entire plot, which is fine, and if you're into that kind of stuff, go for it, okay? And that's what you're going to be getting with this one. In October, Variety reported at least the 2 scenes with Heard were cut, including a fight with the villain, which ended up being in there, and a love scene with Aquaman. Gross, because they had such great chemistry in the first one. Though Heard appeared briefly for a few action sequences in the first 35 minutes and the final half hour, see, there you go. Her total screen time clocks in at around 15 to 20 minutes. But the runtime of the film, okay, like we have with the numbers that's right here, okay, so it's 124 minutes. That's the runtime. I don't know if that includes credits or not, but she's in, well, yeah, that would give her quite a decent screen presence, honestly, in the under 2-hour film. Okay, so I guess that includes credits. She's in a total of 11 brief speaking parts. Well, that was never her forte. I'm just wondering, is it going to be the Zack Snyder Justice League's Mera with a British accent, or the one from the 2018 Aquaman film where she didn't have that? Have we figured that out, or is she just going to have a new vaguely European accent? In the first 35 minutes, yeah, Mera to Aquaman. Oh, here's a breakdown. Okay, a breakdown of her lines. Okay. Arthur, the council has called for an emergency gathering. There's been another plague outbreak. Mera to the council in the following scene. There hasn't been an outbreak like this in ages. Why now? Mera to Aquaman's mom, Atlanta. Sorry. They raided the storage vault. They can't let them in anyway. In the final half hour, where's Junior? No. Oh, is she gonna? Ooh, that's the only thing that I want to know about this. Okay, that would be the only thing that I'm actually interested. Does she deliver a more convincing no than Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman? Kal-El, no. I think based on some of those Johnny Depp recordings, her no would probably be at least a little bit more bone chilling. I'm gonna go with that one. She says thank you. I bet you she probably had to be prodded in order to say that. She probably never said that before in her entire life. Mera is neutered with no personality. Well, okay. I know we rag on Hollywood for a lot of self-inserts all the time, but this actually seems like an appropriate one. Early on, Mera appears ruling Atlantis and carrying out sessions with the council. When Atlantis is attacked, Mera jumps into action to defend her people and gets critically injured by Black Manta. That's what I was talking about a little bit earlier. She's sidelined for the majority of the movie, healing until she returns to the final act to help Aquaman and Orm defeat Black Manta. Devoid of any real depth. Are you talking about Amber Heard specifically, or is this the DCEU? The entire existence of her character in the Lost Kingdom feels purely contractual to fulfill her 3-movie deal with Warner Brothers. Exactly, because like I talked about the last time, Jason Momoa kind of knows that he's being sunset as Aquaman. Listen, if you guys would turn out to the film, if you like it a lot, maybe I'll be returning, but basically, everything's all done and dusted. All the contractual obligations have been fulfilled, and everybody's been sent out, wishing them their best in their future endeavors, knowing that James Gunn, unless you're related to him or sucking his dick, you're not going to be getting a callback for the DCEU. This will finally put to rest the DCEU, and trust me, in 10 years' time, nobody's going to remember any of this shit outside of the context of it failing in the face of having the 2 biggest superheroes in your employ at the time that superhero films were printing money at the box office. Warner is the dumbest company on earth. We're going to have so much more to talk about them in the next before the end of the year, so it's just a heads up. How much is Amber Heard going to be in Aquaman? Quite a bit. But how much of an impact is she going to have? Not a lot. Very strange. Just like superhero films in general for 2022 or 2023 rather. Oh, and 2022. Screw it, throw it all together. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.